So a lot of gamers are throwing a lot of slack towards Halo Infinite because of the Xbox games showcase. Most people don't seem impressed by what they saw, and it looks like there's a lot of talk concerning the graphics. People think 343 Industries is not going to deliver a truly next generation experience. So in this video, I talk about why this might not be true. I'll talk about why it is possible for 343 Industries to deliver an actually very good experience with Halo Infinite, especially on the graphics. So welcome to Swashing Gaming, guys. Like this video, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you found it helpful. So let's get into this. So Halo Infinite, the campaign that was shown, depending on how you felt, you might be underwhelmed, some people were impressed, and so on. I'd say I'm in the middle. Some things were very good, some things definitely need to be improved upon. But here are my reasons as to why I think Halo Infinite is actually not looking as good as you might want it to. So firstly, Halo is working with its own proprietary engine, Slipspace. Now Slipspace engine, the first game it's being worked on is Halo Infinite, right? With Halo 5, I don't know what engine they used, but they were saying they used outdated tools. So they had to create the Slipspace engine from scratch, right? If they went with a proprietary, with an open, with an engine, a commercial engine like Unreal or CryEngine, perhaps they could have had less development time, perhaps they could have found it easy. But creating an engine from scratch and then creating a game with it is not easy. It takes years of refinement. In fact, it might take a couple of installments before the engine itself can be refined. But from what we saw in the Slipspace engine trailer from Halo, not in 2019 but in 2018, the engine itself looks like it supports quite a number of features. Dynamic lighting especially is what looks interesting. The fact that the creatures, the space rhinos and other aspects like birds, squirrels and things like that look like they can be alive. The foliage on the trees, even though those things were not very well showcased in the gameplay trailer, in fact none of them looked like they were showcased, but the Slipspace engine trailer showed that those things are possible, right? So I think the engine itself is capable, but I think they need to refine it, and particularly they need to refine it in a couple of areas. So firstly, think of it this way, right? Most of the things we're boasting about in the Xbox Series X, beyond the raw power in terms of the software features like sampler feedback, streaming, right, which is part of the velocity architecture, right, VRS, right, variable rate shading, mesh shading and DirectX ray tracing are only coming into DirectX this year, right? In fact, they were announced sometime around March, right? March of 2020 this year. That's when most of those things were coming to light, right? So those things have not actually been implemented in the engine. The time is just too short, right? So they've been working on this game, on the engine, for quite a while, and the new DirectX 12 features are definitely, I would say, they're not yet in the build. This is why 343 are saying that ray tracing will only be added to the Halo Infinite game after release, right, as a patch soon after, because them integrating DirectX ray tracing means they have to rework some parts of the engine, and that is definitely what can take some time. But the game has to come out this year, so they'll definitely work with older DirectX 12 features. So other than that, RDNA 2 chips that support ray tracing are also not out there in the world, right? There's no PC graphics card that is showing use of RDNA 2 features, at least not yet. You can't buy a product, right? But back in these offices, right, at 343 back in Redmond, as they work closely with AMD, they've probably been given early versions of it. Alright, but the point here is that either way, they've had little time to work with RDNA 2 for them to be able to fully maximize the ray tracing features, the lighting especially. Okay, so those two facts, the fact that there are no RDNA 2 chips out there in the world right now, Microsoft took a long time before they could finally lock in the hardware for the Series X, right? Sony had locked in their hardware last year, right? But the Series X took a while for them to lock in the hardware, the final hardware that they wanted from AMD, right? So that aspect of RDNA 2 not being present and the fact that DirectX 12 features, the DirectX 12 Ultimate features have only come out this year, my personal reasons, those are the reasons I would understand for Halo Infinite to not fully leveraging the next gen features, if you will, right? It's right now probably only benefiting from the brute force power of the graphics card and the CPU in the Xbox Series X. Okay, then the next thing is, even if you feel like the Halo Infinite demo did not look like a really true next gen feel, most of the problems with the game are actually towards lighting, right? It's lighting. Digital Foundry, Colt Eastwood, they've done videos showcasing the problem, right? So Halo Infinite is using a day and night cycle, so it's not baked in light. It's not the same time the whole campaign. The game will be having a night time, it will be having a daytime, and the sun will be it will be moving because it's a dynamic game. And so because of that, for some reason 343 decided to record that gameplay at a time when the lighting wasn't best, it wasn't perfect, right? So there's that aspect as well. So fixing lighting isn't really a big deal. In fact, when they include ray tracing after the first after it launches, it's definitely going to look way better than the demo that you guys saw at the Xbox Games Showcase, whether you were impressed or not. All right, so that's just with lighting. Of course, there are certain things like finishing up the animations and characters and so on and so forth. But let's just be honest that this is a bigger game than Halo 5 and even Halo 4. Perhaps the original Combat Evolved is what can be compared to this, because it's actually having lots of open world gameplay. So they have to make a whole lot of things work well in that kind of style. So they definitely have some time to polish up. And in my experience, the last few months of polishing up a game make all the difference in terms of the way it looks. This is why Chris Lee from 343 Industries was saying that every day the game looks better, right? Every build they keep seeing looks much better. They've also confirmed that the build they were using to showcase that gameplay was actually an older build, right? Especially with the fact that we've got the pandemic and the thing going on, it's definitely slowed down the progress that 343 would have had. I don't think Microsoft has got an option to delay the game. I think they'll release it the way it is, and then they'll allow the patch to come in much later. I also think that the multiplayer review is actually going to look much better, because they'll probably be using smaller maps, baked in maps, and so that's definitely going to be something that will be impressive. The actual showcase in terms of what the characters can do was, in my opinion, very impressive. It had this Doom kind of effect. So there's lots of elements, lots of mechanics that have been introduced. The grappling hook is what most people are actually talking about. So I can't wait to see what they're actually going to do with it. But Microsoft is very well known for software, right? They do software. Software is their thing. And with the current CEO, Satya Nadella, they've actually embraced this gaming division. So they do want to throw in as much money as possible towards the problem. So I do expect that it's not a funding problem. It's got nothing to do with that. Just the fact that what's happening around the world right now, and the fact that DirectX 12 features just came out early this year. You know, the chips in RDNA 2 have not even hit PCs yet, so getting accustomed to all of those things is quite something, right? The other thing to note is that 343 Industries have actually delivered really good graphics before. If you think about Halo 5 or Halo 4, right, those games look good, right? Halo 5 especially, the motion capture, the actual technology itself that they used was very, very good, right? There's lots of scenery in Halo 5 that makes you think like, okay, this is really looking good. So I don't buy into the fear mongering going on that 343 will fail to deliver with this product, right? There's a lot of YouTubers, lots of content out there that's being negative towards 343. I think it's just nonsense, really. They are definitely going to deliver. The game will be a good game. Perhaps it will look good on launch. I think it will look good on launch, but it will look even better when the ray tracing update actually comes in. Now, I do understand everyone wanted they wanted that gameplay to definitely be mind-blowing. They wanted it to be a very, very good response, a reply to Sony's event, if you will. But this is why showing demos is difficult, guys. This is why Microsoft keeps throwing trailers at you when the game is not ready, right? This is why event after event you've got more trailers than gameplay. This is why companies take time before they show the actual gameplay in whatever they are working on, because it's difficult. You'll be judging the game itself based off of an early build. Right now, imagine if they showed a build from May, back in the May games showcase, right? The May event, we said they didn't have enough gameplay, right? But imagine if they showed a build from back then, how bad would it have looked in comparison to what they've shown now, right? So in the last few months remaining, it's only going to get better. It's only going to look prettier. They will integrate DirectX 12 Ultimate features, which will save performance and make them push more pixels. The gameplay itself was fun. It looked very, very good. There's lots of action. It's a little bit more fast-paced, and the introduction of brutes is definitely very, very welcome. So I'm in support for 343, and I think even what they showed is good by this generation's standard. But definitely, I do expect that the game will be marvelous by the time it comes out. So that's basically my overall thoughts on that. Leave a like, leave a comment if you disagree. Let's talk in a civil manner in the comments below. Recommend the video, subscribe to the channel. Swishy out.